fast forward the dem channel so am say has a POG Media political stories a trend make it headlines and ADB esomo e channel so channel so mami so first time I will be rema obetimi hit the notification bell but more than also obetimi subscribe to the channel na afi channel no so etimi afan to mapa efra leave your comment based on story na a trend ya e make headlines NDC for 24 hours policy no and Okudzeto abrakwa tono boase echirichirim Ghana for say ayade a mindful bi so implement abo economy ni pa recent no say Ghana for so mono magina so dia to aba ama John Dramani Mahama ebeboa ama Ghana etumi afa no tumapa efra odwenkyere ni say bomari asa obetimi leave your comment based on the comment section e ho no bomari na exam mame ye beba wuram na abojofo transit na pensema Okudzeto abrakwa enso echirichirim e de kire Ghana for no so yenye bi eti bomari asa obetimi leave your comment based on story na ye ka ho asem no hye so mam say aha POG Media policies di betimi aboa Ghana and I say woman otherwise. Yemungrem POG Media Suni.
24-hour economy. Yeah. Someone would argue that it's ill-defined and it's difficult to convince us that is the wholesome solution to the problems of the country right now.
What's ill-defined about it? I mean, the 24-hour economy is a 24-hour economy. We want to move.
Well, we are not learning more about how to operationalize what we've got from the NDC.
You clearly have not been listening to us, and you've not been. You want me to send you there? We have a whole blueprint.
I have seen the packet.
Yes.
But it's only a simplified version of what will actually be applied. We are yet to understand how this will be operationalized so that the Ghanaian people can reap from it. The NDC is taking too long in giving us that, but it's been propagating 24-hour economy. A buzz which some will say is trailing off.
Oh yeah, certainly. It's caught on, and the TUC has described this as a game changer. And that's what this country has been waiting for. It's an idea whose time has come. Look, we have put out the blueprint. We have said that the flag bearer is just teasing out portions of our manifesto. Very soon, in a few months, we're going to launch the manifesto, and that's where, if you want the full program to go into the details, the bolts and nuts, you're going to have it. But there's nothing mysterious. It's not rocket science. We are not saying we are going to space. I mean, we're just talking about a 24-hour economy which has worked in other jurisdictions and can work here.
Is that all? It's just a 24-hour economy for the NDC going into the 2024 election. It's a very simple concept.
I earlier talked about how we are going to deal with corruption. The flag bearer has said that he will have a no-nonsense approach. He has said that he will start from home. Charity begins at home, and that even his own appointees will not be spared. He's talked about constitutional reforms. And under constitutional reforms, he's talked about a whole swath of governance, governance reforms, which include, cancelling the ex gratia, for example, reducing the number of ministers. He has said that he can work with no more than 60 ministers, where we are now 87 and the likes, and it's going to be more because we thought that there's been a reshuffle. We thought they would take advantage of this reshuffle to reduce the number of ministers, but that's not what has happened. People are being removed from sector ministers. They are being sent to the presidency. They are still going to be drawing from public funds. And then at the lands ministry, I'm told the deputy minister who was removed has just been appointed a special advisor to the minister. So virtually nobody is going home. Everybody is being asked to hang on to continue to draw scarce taxpayer funds. So we are saying that we are not going to have this obese
the bread and butter issues is the 24-hour economy.
The 24-hour economy. The 24-hour economy. We're talking about infrastructure. He said that look, we must continue with our program to have every regional capital having an airport. He's talked about the need to have in agriculture to have farm banks. So
I keep asking
cooperatives. So we have not put out our comprehensive manifesto.
I totally understand.
Mam Samuel Kwaba channel so channel so mam say I say a POG Media political stories are trending and make headlines and ADB a small channel is so channel so mami na kai hu say ubetimi a subscribe share comment based on story na trend make headlines so na share so ma me say obetimi ama foforo so insight me aka bi ama me say the be next time bia no so no yetumi e de foforo change etimi abesomo but that's so witimi ayesa na yenhwe John Dramani Mahama witimi address Ghana for John Mahama's closing address at the NDC lab policy nse bebre na papa yi eka ye kata share any project oman omu the Ghana for ejapade isika grow bedamasi what the enhye egu kwan ma oso oba obe make sure say sa na omani nyina eto ebitwa edwuma ebi ni ho ahokyere oman wom economy atia pansam oba be yini nyina ama etumi afa no tuma pa efra bebe wura na so ni ahwe ni nsema papa yi ekan ewo John Mahama's closing address at NDC lab no ho enti yenhwe yemonwura ho na mamena wase se wasan ajemre a wuti search no yi yemonwura John Dramani Mahama asoye emre hyesie hye so ma me se ahase eye POG Media bedaxe.
The NDC lab, with its vast pool of quality human resource, was birthed at the right time to provide critical thinking and ideation around policy options and services, including rethinking our approach to governance and how to better the socio-economic conditions of our Ghanaian people. I've been engaging and following the work of the NDC lab since 2021 when it was formed. I've personally participated in some of your deliberations and have experienced at first hand your professionalism, meticulousness, attention to detail, and above all, your love of nation. Comrades, as this dialogue marks another phase of the NDC's policy development process, it is also the clearest indication of how far we have come as a party and our readiness for the elections of December 2024. There have always been ever ready and well thought through and progressive policy proposals coming out of the NDC lab engagements, and thus for the benefit of the party and also for our presidential campaign at the end of this year. However, and as is one of the objectives of this dialogue, a few of these policy proposals require some fine-tuning, and it is one of the reasons I'm particularly happy that this policy dialogue session has taken place. I'm sure you'd all have found it useful in all the presentations that were made, and I believe that we're going to have solid proposals, not only for our manifesto pre-December 2024, but for policy implementation when our government comes to power in 2025. As NDC lab members form majority of the membership of the manifesto and sector committees, it provides for a seamless continuation and flow of work leading to the timely finalization of the 2024 manifesto and its eventual launch. Comrades, there is no need to re-echo the fact that Ghana is currently gripped with its worst socio-economic crisis in several decades. The Ghana Statistical Service only recently, on Wednesday this week, reported that unemployment keeps rising and currently stands at a staggering 14.7%, as nearly 1.4 million young people aged between 15 to 25 are unemployed, and this is in the first 3 quarters of 2023 alone. This, by every account, is a very harrowing situation. Worsening living conditions, unbearable hardships, a spiraling cost of living, high inflation, rising inequality, a widening gap between the haves and the have-nots, a steep erosion of the purchasing power of households, an unsustainable public debt, massive debt defaults, a failing currency, and astronomical budget deficits tell the tale of a catastrophic economic meltdown, which is the result of shocking mismanagement and the ineptitude of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration. Compounding our miserable circumstances as Ghanaians are astonishing levels of governmental corruption and plain thievery of our resources, severely weakened and heavily politicized governance institutions serving the NPP rather than the national interest, and more particularly the inseparable arrogance of power displayed by this administration. This is not the Ghana we subscribe to. Without a doubt, this kind of iteration of our country requires urgent rebuilding, anchored on our collective aspirations with workable, progressive, and sustainable policies. Comrades have had the opportunity to go through the consolidated reports from the thematic working groups, and thus the Finance, Economy, Human Development, and Governance Working Group reports I have had the opportunity to look at. I can observe that, apart from the fact that the policy proposals clearly seek to address the current Akufo-Addo Bawumia created twin challenges of economic and governance crisis, the proposals also directly respond to most of the thorny issues raised by Ghanaians during my ongoing Building Ghana tours. I am hopeful that the deliberations you have had these 2 days have helped tighten the loose ends, particularly in respect of the implementational framework for these policies. We are acutely aware that we do not have the benefit of time at all from 7th January, it's just around the corner. After we get sworn into office, Ghanaians have high hopes. Ghanaians have high hopes and expectations, which we have every intention of meeting. These high expectations in the next NDC administration reflect their unwavering belief in our ability to deliver. And that is why I'm again happy that the NDC Lab has already stepped into the next phase of considering the implementation and action points in respect of our key and flagship policy proposals. As I said, the work of the lab is not only geared towards the manifesto, but policy implementation when we have come into office post 7th January 2025. The enormity of the challenges we face today and those that we will uncover would mean that we must come into government with a clear plan and a strategy. We have the plan and strategy, and we know exactly what to do from the very moment we are sworn into office on 7th January 2025. Since 2021, I have outlined over 60 different policy proposals, carefully curated to restore our economy and national life in general into a much better state. In particular, the 24-hour economic policy pledge has found resonance with most Ghanaians, especially the youth, as confirmed by both data-based and anecdotal evidence. And I wish to thank our comrade Nimoy for a very good presentation on the 24-hour economy policy and strategy. This policy has offered hope to our increasingly restless and despondent population that the half measures and mismanagement they are under in the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, which has plunged us into suffering, will soon give way to more prudent and forward-looking programs. The 24-hour economy now remains perhaps the surest way to achieve significant economic expansion, to boost productivity, meet demand, curb unbridled imports and its attendant negative effect on our economy, and currently and above all, generate well-paying jobs for the millions of our people who are currently without employment. I'm encouraged by the very positive feedback and input we continue to receive on the proposal from our compatriots in organized labor, academia, business, and industry. This fits in perfectly with the consultative approach that is informing our policy formulation, and I can reveal the completion of a policy strategy document on the proposals, which we will soon share with the people of Ghana. We remain determined to build the Ghana we want together with all Ghanaians so that we can collectively reap the outcomes of our shared prosperity. The policy dialogue is further proof of our desire to subject our policy proposals to scrutiny and to synthesize various views to enable us refine and fine-tune them to meet the expectations of our dear people. The widespread acceptance of the 24-hour policy appears to have sent the NPP campaign into a tailspin, leading to a frenzied effort to attack it through calumny and disinformation in these last few days. We are fortified in the knowledge that the days when the MPP assumed that they could use falsehood to hoodwink Ghanaians for electoral advantage are over, especially because of their horrific performance in the last 7 years after they were entrusted with the administration of our dear nation, Ghana. There is no room in leadership for excuse-making and flight from responsibility. You cannot make grandiose promises on the economy pre-2016 only to be put in charge of the same in government, run it down, and push all of us into suffering and hardship, and turn around to say, you were only the mate of a reckless driver. And therefore you should be excused from culpability. Ladies and gentlemen, not only do I have a much better and measurable record of performance in both my role as Vice President and as head of the Economic Management Team, and later as President, than my main contender in this year's elections. Not only do I have a much better and measurable record of performance in both my role as Vice President and head of the Economic Management Team, and later as President, than my main contender in this year's elections, but I also have a record of taking responsibility. Same cannot be said of my opponent. I note that my long espoused pledges to substantially reduce the size of government by having much fewer ministers, appointees, and to abolish the payment of ex gratia, to scrap some taxes like the e-levy and carry out far-reaching constitutional and governance reforms have compelled my opponents to promise same, despite being front of center of the poor governance under which all these ills have taken place. I mean business on the promises I have made, and I intend to keep them. I'm therefore pleased with the work done so far on the implementational metrics in respect of the realignment of our ministerial architecture for a resilient and efficient governance structure to deliver more responses and caring government after the public good. The resilience government structure will be anchored on ICT uptake and innovations, and the same innovation will drive some of our other job creation efforts. It is in the light of this that the next NDC government seeks to partner with local tech startups and businesses to launch a digital jobs initiative to create at least 300,000 skilled employment opportunities for young people. We shall also establish a fintech growth fund with an initial seed capital of USD $50 million to support indigenous companies in fostering the growth of the digital economy. Our brothers and sisters and children who are interested in coding will have the opportunity to participate in our Coding for Employment program, which is targeted to train 1 million coders with in-demand digital skills for the growing business process outsourcing and knowledge process outsourcing ecosystems. Comrades, it's again instructive to note that work has already begun with the collection of data of all abandoned and uncompleted public infrastructure projects. This is to enable us to undertake an inventory and assessment of all uncompleted and abandoned government projects across all sectors of the country, in particular health, care, and educational facilities, and make annual budgetary allocations towards their upgrade and completion in order of priority. The system for the collection of the data gives us a quick snapshot into all these abandoned and uncompleted projects at a go, including their present fiscal location and the states and condition in which they are. Ladies and gentlemen, the novelty here is that we're doing this now as a government in waiting, that is in opposition, We do not want to be sworn into office on 7th January 2025 before we commence the preliminary phase of work on making an inventory of these abandoned projects. So even out of government, we are expending resources to make this inventory so that we can hit the ground running. We are ready, and a lot is happening. I have the utmost confidence that very soon we shall see and have a feel of a manifesto that responds to the day-to-day needs of Ghanaians and leverages on our shared aspirations and common identity when it is launched. A manifesto that will be anchored on the people's will. We are ready. I am ready. Yes. We are ready, and I am ready. Yes. To lead us to build the Ghana we want together. Yes. The beautiful thing is I have equally seen the readiness and eagerness of the Ghanaian people to join us on this journey of rebuilding ourselves and our society. And to the majority of Ghanaians and voters on our side, be rest assured we shall protect your votes. And even those who are not on our side, rest assured we shall protect your votes. We shall let the true voice of the people speak. And we shall make sure that the outcome of this election is a true reflection of the wishes of the people of Ghana. This is my pledge to you, and we shall work together to build the Ghana we want. On this note, I formally declare this policy dialogue session closed. I thank you for your kind attention, and may God bless our homeland Ghana. Thank you very much.
I'm not was answer. So why dem retention or jet channel you so uti training stories are make weeks make headlines no so but money I say ubetimi a share am for front so inside me akabi now was subscribe to the channel until we say in sema Okudzeto ablakwa any John Romani Mahama itimi editor Ghana for any this very week there was a be brave say wajemre or channel you so that's an best asia